Hey dude, here's your tutorial. Okay, so there are some awkward chord fingerings in this, so I will play it how I would play it, how it works for my fingers, and explain how that goes, and then if there's any alterations you want to make or any finger changes, then go ahead. Okay, so I finger picked this. You could hybrid pick it, so you could use a pick and fingers, so either way I'm going to go finger picking, because there are some kind of two notes you need to pinch like that, which is kind of awkward to do with a pick, and you get a bit of a weird, I don't know, sounds a bit different. So I'm going to full finger picking for this one. Okay, so guitar setup, we're in standard tuning, and you need a big floaty reverb delay sort of sound, as sort of just beautiful as you can get, really. Yeah, here we go, chord number 1. So this chord is like a C major 7 sus2. So we have, I would play it with a bar on your 3rd fret, and then 5th fret there, and 7th fret there. So I would bar these two 3s, and get the 5 and 7 either side, and just pick for chord number 1. Second chord's easy enough. Same with the 3rd chord, just move that finger across. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm using my thumb for all the low notes, all your bass notes, and my fingers for your other 3 notes. Okay, so you want to try and assign your fingers to these strings, and then assign your thumb to those strings, and try and stick with that for most of it. Okay, so those first 3. And this next one, we move up to here. Okay, so we have a 5, 4 and a 5, which is up there, which is like an F sharp diminished type shape, with your F sharp down here. Okay, and again, that would be that one. Next across, these two are relatively easy. We have a G over B, which is, and then a G major 7. So if you use these two fingers, your 1st finger and your 3rd finger for your G over B, and then for your G major 7, drop back from your 3rd finger to your 2nd finger, and move that 3rd finger to there, so you get that shape, and a strum across those. So for that part. And then we keep going in a similar fashion. Some of these chords get a little bit more awkward now. We have this one, which I do a bar across 2 5s, little finger on 7, and then 3rd finger, middle finger could work, but I go 3rd finger on there. So pick, and then these notes, you want to get your 3rd finger on your top string on that 7, and then pinch with your thumb, and 1st finger to get those 2 notes. So, okay, slightly odd sounding chord, but nice. Okay, next one, this one. So this next one, we want to go like this. Okay, so you can either go middle finger, you could go 2 fingers across there like that. I tend to do 1 finger. So little finger on 8, 2 7s like that, or 2 7s with 1 finger, or 2 7s like that, however you want, and then 2 5s with your 1st finger. Okay, so I tend to do that, and then we're picking, again, similar picking to the one. You want to pinch those bottom 2 and get that top one. Okay, then from there we move up to there, which is a more straightforward chord. Okay, so again, little bar across your 9s for those 2, an 11 there and a 10 there. It's a bit like, if you know your A minor 7 bar shape, it's like that, but just jumped across onto those 2 strings. Okay. Now your next one is essentially just a B7 chord, but I've done it with that shape. So we've got the open B string. Sounds a bit like there's an open B string in there. You could do it with your more traditional sort of G7 chord shape but moved up. but I quite like the sound of inverting those two, so you've got an open. Okay, but again, either way, you can go for that, or you go for that, and that one looks better as well. It looks nicer. So that's that one there. Next one, or your next two, I suppose. Go 503. Quite easy, that one. And then just a pinch with your thumb and your fingers, or just fingers, whichever way you want to do it. So that's that, and then we move up to this one. So 3 7s. I tend to use these 3 fingers. You could use these 3. I always find these a bit more comfortable for me. So again, either way round. So that's that chord there. Next one is that one there. So 4 and a 5, very similar to that second chord you do down here, but on 4 and a 5. Okay, so next one, what I want to do is very similar to that first chord that you do, only the 5 is on your D string. Okay, so bar the 3, get your 5 there, and get your 7 there. And okay, just G major for that one. This one, where did we do this one? That's a very awkward one. Okay, because you've got that 5 just there. So I would do that one, root note with your first finger, little bar across 2 7s, and then 9 with your little finger, and then you should be able to reach 8 with your third finger, just there. So yeah, that one again, pick, and then you want to pick 3 notes, so finger on the top, and pinch with your thumb and first finger. So that's that chord. Next one, or next 2. I would just use 3 fingers. It's a bit like if you know a C add 9 shape. It's a bit like that, up on the 10th fret and shifted across a string. Okay, try and relate these shapes to things you may already know. I don't know if you already know these, but if you do, relate them to them so you can get those shapes just memorized, really. Then all you're doing for that one is moving this 10 to a 13, and okay, so it does like a rake across that. So it might be a strum, or I tend to kind of rake my fingers across. Do that. From there, we're back to that 7 7 7. That sort of B minor add 11 over E. Could just be. There are various names for these chords, so depending which part of it you place as your root note, the names can change. I tried to go for kind of the ones that made the most sense, or that were the most yeah, made the most sense. Don't know why I needed to change that. That made the most sense. So B minor at 11 over E. This could be like an E minor 7, just without that minor. So I don't know, various things that could be. Anyway, back to that one. That one. Okay, so again, 2 4s. You could get 2 fingers on, but again, I like to play that with 1 finger and then get 5 on top. And then your last one is just a G. So slightly different with you picking on this one. So that's just a G chord, so you pick 2 notes. And then 2 notes there. Okay, so that is your chordy section. Those chords kind of keep going underneath the next part as well, all your first twiddly parts. So I've done the lead section for that bit because I think it's pretty much the same chords as all of this lot. So I've kind of whipped through those relatively quickly, but I think as long as a lot of them aren't that difficult, they're weird chords that aren't necessarily normal chord shapes or common chord shapes, but a lot of them aren't that difficult. So as long as we get my preferred fingering for it is what I've showed you. So if you base it on that, if you have to change anything, fine, just change it. And again, finger picking is probably the way to go for that, because there are some slightly awkward things. Again, you could get your pick involved as well, because next up you need to go back to picking anyway. Okay, so speaking of next up, we have this part here. Okay, the whole of this section is based on this lick, with just various little alterations. It varies quite a lot, little changes and things here and there. So if you get the basic lick down, which is this part, then you should be able to work out where the alterations are. I'll play through it anyway, but again, it's not that complicated. So we are here and we go. Okay, fingering wise, all kind of makes sense. There's no really weird sort of stretchy parts to it. Which is that first one there, sorry. And then your next one is the same. Only we slide to 13 instead of 17. And the rest of it kind of follows in a very similar way, just with different slides and just slight variations on each part. So for example, this one we start a bit further down. And we slide up to 15 on your top string, so. And then your next one again, just slightly different, very slightly different. We go 14. Again, slide to 15 on that one, on your B string. And then your next one, again, very slightly different. Okay, so it's just about learning and memorizing all the different variations of it. And then once you get to the next one after this one, we jump down to 9th fret. Okay, then once you get to this end one here, it just repeats those, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, there's kind of 5 of them all together. It just repeats all 5 of those. So there's that one, there's that one, there's that one, there's that one, and there's that one. Okay, so once you've done those 5, repeat them all 3 times round. So yeah, not a lot else. I don't think if you really get stuck on any of it, not sure why you would, because it's all, again, there's nothing too flashy about it. But if you do, just ask me and I'll see if I can clear anything up. But it's all pretty self-explanatory. There's just a lot of learning to do. There's a lot of it, and it's all just subtly different. So it kind of melt your brain a bit. Okay, next up, as you come out of that on the last time, we're just holding these notes. Okay, which is those 3. That bit's quite easy. On this part, there's a bar of 6, 4. So if you see just here, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. When we get to here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we start. Which is probably my favourite passage of the whole song. I love that bit. It just sounds so good. So this section here. Try and let these notes ring out as much as you can. The reverb does a good job of carrying them on, but if you can get... Okay, so pretty much through that whole thing, keep that middle finger on your 8. Okay. And then we are into some more gorgeous chords. Again, quite simple chords, but just the way they kick in, it's like boom. Love this bit. I just love this song. Good choice. I'm so happy you made me do this song. That's good. Okay, so this one, I can't quite tell how many more or what the other effects and stuff that come in are. So I suppose you could, if you crank the distortion on it, but still keep all the reverby stuff, you'll get quite a good sound for this. But everything just goes like boom, and it all kicks in. So again, I'd probably go full finger picking, or again picking fingers, so hybrid picking. But I'm gonna go finger picking again because it just kind of goes. It just picks through all these chords like that. Okay, so those chords are your D minor, which is that over F. Okay, also could be a B flat major 7 over F, or your D minor over F. Okay, so again, various names for these chords. So yeah, get those fingers on and pinch again, boom, with your fingers, or you could strum. You could strum with the pick, but you've just got the added difficulty of muting the notes that you don't want, the strings that you don't want. So I'd go fingers. That's that one. Then this finger comes off, revealing the bar on the 1. That second chord, which is just a straight up F chord. And then we go to your next one, where if you lift that bar up, so you've got that B, which is your flat 5 for that part. And then it's a similar sort of process, but based on E7. So we start with your E7 like this, and we go. And the little finger comes off to get your B, and then you just strum the bottom part of the chord. That one's quite easy. They're all just different versions of E7. And then we've got the first lot again, your D minor over F, your F, and your F with your flat 5, it's like an F diminished type chord. And then these two, we have an F sus4, which I would do like this. I get 3 fingers on. And then you just want to move to an F major chord, but without the bar, so you get that open B again. Sorry, an F sharp major chord. So we get that. So we get the F sharp at 11. Okay, so that's that section done. I suppose when you break it down, it's not actually that much of a difficult song to play. There's just a lot of it. It just yeah, it's a difficult one to remember as opposed to play. Now this part, again, you want to let those low notes, so let this note, and when you get to the 8 and the 0 and the 7, all ring out. So again, fingers or hybrid, whatever you want to do. You want to play that note, and then just with your fingers get. And so on. How did I do that? Probably change to those fingers. Okay, let me try that again. Then I'll move to there. So if you can reach 8, 8. So just here. So try and build a chord out of the 2 bars worth of what you're playing. So you got 5, 8, and 8. Same with the next part. Just moves around a bit more. Then your next one to a 7 and a 5. So again, as long as you leave that low note ringing out over it, you'll be fine. So this is like 2 guitar parts and the bass just arranged for 1 guitar, because I think just one of the guitars just plays a single note, the other one just plays the root note. So again, I'm combining both of these. That one, and this one here, back to your 8s again. Then you want to jump back to 2, 5, and 3, so. again, run through the rest of these. We have open E string. And 7 and 5 with a D. And then up to your 8th again, but with an F this time. So maybe a bar. Maybe a bar. And then this part, a little bit more of a chord comes in, so I did like it's like a D minor. So again, I get 2 fingers. That part, and so on. 12 and 8. Here we go, 7 and 10 and 8. Just gotta watch out for the rhythm because they change slightly, because this one's kind of 8 10s and then 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so you move down for the last 3 to the 8. So again, just watch those changes and you'll be alright with those. 8 and 13. To a 12. Yeah, that's definitely the best way of doing that. So 8, it's got a big stretch. Alternatively, what you can do, instead of playing an 8 there, you could do that on your 13 on your bottom string, so you get that chord, which I suppose makes a bit more sense, but I like my stretchy chords. I like the tone of that 8 as opposed to that one. You can hear a difference in the sound. You know, so I quite like different tonal notes. That one's quite easy, a 15. And then here, oops. There we go, 8 and 12, and then into 8. So again, bar that across, because that's a bit awkward. I suppose you could do that, and then jump to that, but I'd go finger, and then bar. And then this one is probably your most awkward part. We jump up to 16 and 17 with an open E. And then jump to a 16 there for the second part of that. So 2, 3, 4. And this part's just like an A, not an A. C. Wait, what? Oh yeah. C, but with an A on the bottom. And then. Okay. So as you get to the end of that part, builds up a bit just there, and then that rings out, and then we break down again into this part, which is another, again, finger pick. I'd go fingers as opposed to hybrid. So where do we start? Bar on 12. So ideally you've got just that going all the way through. Then on the off beats, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so you're just going to get that coordination between your fingers. And that keeps going on in the left speaker, I think that is, or on one side, and on the other side another guitar comes in on beat with this pattern. Okay, so again, you could do this all on one string. But I quite like the sound of jumping across the strings, so because you could do it a bit like a chord. Okay. So that's that section again, quite straightforward. And then this part, the whole of this end bit, of which there's quite a lot. It's just an arrangement of both guitars at once. So what we've got, again, we'll take 2 bars at a time again. And one guitar here will be the bottom line and the other guitar will be the top row. Okay, so if you don't want to do them or can't do them both together because there are some big awkward changes, then either do just the top one or just the bottom one. Okay, so this first part, the bottom one, we've got 13 and 8, whereas the top one we've got 12 and 8, but they change in different places. Okay, so your first one will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're changing the bottom one but not the top one, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And it kind of follows suit for the rest of it. You don't change both notes at the same time, so the chord changes are very awkward. And from there we go. So the bottom one does a 10, top one does 8 and 7, and then we move to a 10 and a 13, which is a okay. So. Next one, yeah. Same as the first part. And then we just move to 12s and 10s just here. Move that across a bit. Okay, so 12s and 10s. If I know that's wrong, the 12s on the bottom. 3, 4, don't move until the last 2 notes. So that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. And then that section from there to there repeats. So it's 2 of those. And then we're into your last part, which again is based all around the same sort of thing. We just don't have repeats, it's just different sets of notes. Okay, some of these are quite awkward. So your first part is very similar. Okay, and your 12 stays the same. Your 13 moves to your 8. Up here we go 17 and 18, and then the 17 on top moves down to 15. And then both notes come together and play the same note. They both play that E, so you just do the one note on that one, and then they break off, and we go down to a 10. So three fingers like that. This one here. So 13, 15, and that just stays the same. So. Okay, so D minor type thing again. Your next one, this one here, 12 and 17, and then that moves to 12 and 12. So again, big stretch with your fingers. Okay, so that's what I did there. So the 12 and 17, it's the same note, they're both E. So I suppose you could do that on this 12 as well, instead of doing one string. If you get 2, keeps the fatness of the rest of it up. That's probably why I put it in there, but I didn't put it in the first one. Okay, so that's that one. And then we do 17 and 10. We're getting bigger with these stretches. You could go across and do the 10 as a 14 on that string, but again, I like my big stretches, so that's why I put them in. So 17, and then 15. And then we're back to just 12s again. So that, again, 12 and 17. And then 12 and 13. That one there, which which is now probably behind my head. So if I move this way, can you see it? It's all backwards. I haven't worked this out yet. So that's that one there. Then we move up to the end, and it's a 16 and an 18. And these notes kind of very gradually bend up. And then stop. So you get that weird sort of crescendo at the end. That. Okay, so it's not a full bend, it's just a subtle bend, but they do bend up. Okay, so I've kind of not really rushed through it. I've been through it all. I've showed you the fingerings. I'm not going into masses of detail with it. But that's all the sections. Again, if you're stuck on any parts, let me know. Those dogs are annoying me. Yeah, so there we go. There we go. Hope that's helped you out, and happy playing, and good luck. See you, dude.